Hi, welcome to the Your Home from Home accommodation information session. Today we'll be talking about what it's like to live in university accommodation and provide a bit of information about our halls. First, you'll be given an overview of university accommodation by Carl Lickus, one of our residential services supervisors. Then we'll hear from a couple of students about what it's like to live in halls. After that, we've got a few short videos recorded by other students where they share their experiences. During those videos, we'll open up the Q&A section so you can ask us any questions, and after they've finished, we'll start answering your questions on screen and in the chat. As we've got a fair bit to get on with, let's get going. I'm just about to pass you over to Carl. Sorry, give me 1 second, having some technical difficulties. Here we go.
Good afternoon. My name is Carl and I work in residential services. So today we're going to go all over a presentation called Your Home Away from Home, and it's all about a first look at university accommodation at the University of Southampton. So once you know where you're going to university, I'm sure there's a lot in your mind, but one of the things you'll be thinking about is, where am I going to live? And when you're going to potentially a new city, a new university, it's a big, a new step, new chapter in your life. Sometimes that sorting out accommodation can seem a bit daunting, and you might think, oh, what am I going to do? There's a lot of options out there. How do I make sure I make the right choice? But what I'd say is there's no need to worry, and I'm going to give you two good reasons for that if you're thinking of coming to the University of Southampton. The first reason is our accommodation guarantee. So first year undergraduate students are guaranteed accommodation in halls as long as you meet a few criteria. Firstly, that is that you get your application before the 1st of August or whichever year you're planning on starting. So for as little as 10-15 minutes in getting your application in, which is all done online, you know that you've got a place in halls. And as I say, that's whether Southampton is your first or insurance choice. So it gives you that peace of mind and just takes the stress out of everything. Once you've got your application in, as I say, before the 1st of August deadline, we then make sure we get your offers out after the exam results come out. So normally that's mid-August, and then we start to get offers out. And when we do that, the only other thing you need to do is make sure that you accept the offer. And then if Southampton is your insurance choice and you don't end up coming here, then you just reject the offer. So you've not tied yourself into anything financially, so there's nothing to worry about, but you know you've got the accommodation there if you need it. So the other reason, as I mentioned, is that you can apply online, but you actually want to know kind of what is it I've got to apply for. So we're fortunate at University of Southampton, we've got a large portfolio of accommodation for you to choose from over a number of sites, both in Southampton and Winchester. So the good thing about that is that you've got lots of choices, both in terms of room types and in terms of sites, and they've all got their own characteristics that set them apart. All of our sites have modern range of social spaces that you can make use of. They've got study areas as well. Some have got cinema rooms, pool rooms and things like that. So there's lots to make use of there as well. And we also give you the option of self-catered and part-catered accommodation. So this event is called a first look. So I'm going to try and give you kind of an overview of what we've got. So in terms of the city of Southampton, as I say, our accommodation we're not campus based, so we have accommodation throughout the city over a range of sites. We've got Southampton on the map here, but we've also got Erasmus Park, which is up in Winchester, which services the Winchester School of Art. In regard to Southampton, you can see we've got the map on screen here. You can see where some of our campuses are and where some of our accommodation is. So we've got both halls in residential areas, some in the city centre. So depends on what you're looking for. And also, depending on what campus you're on, you might think, oh, do I need to be closest to my campus? That's not the case. With your accommodation, you get a Unilink bus pass, which gives you unlimited travel to all the sites that you can see on the screen at the moment, both in terms of academic facilities and academic campuses, but also our halls of residence. But you can also use it to get around the city of Southampton as well. And I say that's unlimited travel, so that's really useful, makes it really convenient. So it means that you don't need to worry about where you're studying when you come to where you're coming to apply for living. So in regard to the actual rooms that we've got, although we have different categories within these sections, the two areas that we've mainly got, we've got ensuite rooms and we've got rooms that have shared wash facilities. So on screen now, we've got some ensuite facilities you can see. So obviously pretty standard across the room in terms of what's offered, in terms of what you get in a room. You get a bed, you get a desk, you also will get a adjustable chair, office chair that you can use as well. Obviously with an ensuite, you've also got the ensuite bathroom as well. All of our rooms, both in ensuite and shared wash facilities, are done in flats. So all rooms are single occupancy, and then those rooms will be in flats. So the amount of rooms that you get in a flat can vary. So the minimum for an ensuite would be about 5. The highest you'd be looking at is about 10. And within those flats, you would have a kind of central corridor, the rooms come off of that, and then you would have a shared kitchen. And we'll give you a look at what some of the kitchen facilities look like in a little bit. So here's some of the ensuite options, and you can see that they're across a range of our sites: Mayflower, Erasmus Park, City Gateway, Wessex Lane. So there's a few, there's lots of choices there, but if you check out our website, you'll get to see where all of those facilities, all the ensuite rooms are. I've mentioned shared bathroom facilities. So again, you can see on screen now some of the options and examples of some of the types of rooms you could get. Again, these are across a range of our different sites. In regard to, you might think, oh, how many people you're sharing with. So the ratios again vary slightly, but you'd be looking at around maximum 4 to 5 people sharing a kind of bathroom in terms of ratios per shower. But the best ratio that we currently have, and that will be offered for the first time from this year, is in our ensuite, our Enhanced Plus offering, which is 2 people sharing 1 bathroom, which includes a shower, a wash basin, toilet, those kind of things. So again, there's options there. In terms of the rooms, again, you get all the things that I've mentioned before, but obviously you just don't have the bathroom facilities in there as well. Again, there would be a shared kitchen off of these flats. So shared kitchens, I've got some pictures here on the screen for you now, and you can see that there's a few different types. Again, with our new Enhanced Plus, the kitchen also has a new kind of lounge area as well. So as well as being a kitchen where you cook your food, obviously the kitchen is a communal area in the flat as well, and it's quite often where a lot of the communal activities go between residents of the flat. So again, it's a great place to hang out as well as a place to cook your food. And obviously it's always nice if you can all sit down as a flat and eat a meal together every now and then. So they're great spaces to use in that regard. But on screen gives you an idea of what they look like. But also, depending on, you might think, well, the kitchens all kind of stock the same, but regardless of how many people are in your flat, obviously we've got enough bits of equipment in there to facilitate the amount of people that we've got in there. So for example, you will all get shelves in the fridge and the freezer, you will all get your own cupboards, and then how many ovens, microwaves and hobs and things like that will depend on how many people in the flat, but we'll obviously make sure that there's enough to service the people that are in there. I mentioned earlier, we've got lots of social spaces and study spaces within our halls. So again, there's an example on screen now, but these are, again, great facilities to make use of while you're in a time. So yes, it's a place to live in halls, but we obviously know it's much more than that. It's a place where you come to meet people. You'll obviously be studying a lot. There'll be societies and things it'd be part of as well. So obviously you want to kind of make the most of those facilities as well. If you're into music, you might want to hire one of the music rooms. We've got cinema rooms, so it's not on the screen now, but we also have like snooker rooms at some of the sites as well. So there's facilities you can make use of there. In addition to that, some of our sites, Mayflower, Glenair and Wessex Lane, also have on-site gyms. You need a sport and wellbeing membership, which also gives you access to the facilities in the Highfield campus. But they are, if you've got one of those memberships, you can make use of those facilities at those sites as well. So that's kind of a first look at our halls and what's on offer in terms of the facilities. And what I'd say, there's lots of benefits to living in halls. But if I was to kind of summarise these into kind of 3 main points, they would be what I've got on screen now: convenience, kind of your support and your safety, and one of the biggest ones is community. So I'm just going to kind of delve into those a bit more now. In terms of convenience, I've also already mentioned our accommodation guarantee, and that you can apply via our online portal. So again, we try and make everything easy for you even before you arrive coming to the University of Southampton and our halls. Once you're here, we try and make life as easy as possible for you as well. We know when you get here, you don't want to be focusing on kind of sorting out bills or any kind of things like that. So when you get here, all your utilities, they're all included. Your Wi-Fi, that's already set up, ready to go. You can log into that as soon as you arrive. Our sites all have 24-hour receptions. That means you don't have to wait in to get your post. We will take delivery of it. That means, and you can collect it at any time you want once it's arrived. So again, it just takes that, makes life easy for you, so you can focus on the things that matter to you rather than having to worry about waiting in for your post or things like that, or sorting out utility bills. I've also mentioned the facilities on sites, and I mentioned the Unilink bus pass as well. So that's all included in your contract. So that gives you unlimited travel. Also, we try and make sure that, if things do go wrong, if there's a maintenance issue in your room, if your light goes out or something, you can report all these issues online. And so it's very convenient in that regard. Or if it's something urgent, you can always go to the 24-hour reception. So let's say we take care of everything, and we try and make life as easy as possible for you so that you can focus, let's say, on the main thing and enjoying the most of your time at university, being able to focus on your studies and also your social life as well. Security and well-being. So again, these are a big part of what we do. All our sites, wherever you live, you'll have 3 levels of security in terms of getting to your room, be that a door code or a fob to get into the main entrance, and then keys to get to or fobs to get to your flat door and then to your room as well. But just to kind of, in addition to that, we also have security teams both on site and the university campuses. In terms of academic campuses, also have their dedicated security teams as well. So there's always people out there looking out for your safety and making sure our sites are safe. As it is, and as I've got on the screen, Southampton is a very safe city as it is anyway. In a recent NatWest survey, it was ranked as one of the 6th safest city in the UK. So again, just an extra peace of mind knowing that it's a good place to be. One of the big things that I haven't mentioned yet is the student life wellbeing team. So they are 24-hour a day, 7-day a week, 365-day a year service. There for your support and well-being. You can call them at any time, even if it's like 4 in the morning. You can give them a call if you want any help for anything from feeling a bit homesick, if you're just feeling a bit upset about something, or you don't know what to do and you want some guidance or some to be pointed in the right direction of some other services within university, you can contact them at any time. So again, it just gives you that extra peace of mind. There's always someone there you can talk to, always support available for you. And just one final thing to add is that when you come to us, you get contents insurance, which covers all the items in your room and also your fridge and freezer and things like that in the kitchen. So if there's a power outage or something for some reason, or the fridge breaks and all your food defrosts, you know that you've got that covered. So again, makes it easy for you knowing that you haven't lost, although you've lost the food, you haven't lost them. You can claim it all back and get the money. So again, just that extra peace of mind and convenience. And now I guess I come on to kind of one of the biggest aspects about not just halls, but coming to university in general. It's that feeling of community. Coming into our halls, you're part of a community of thousands of students across our sites. It's a really great time to kind of meet new people, meet people from all around the UK, all around the world, people from many different backgrounds with different interests and things. So it's a great time to meet people, and we try and do as much as we can to help support that, because we know that's a big part of student life and coming to university. One thing to highlight is when we allocate people their rooms, we don't allocate by subject or anything along those lines. So it means that you'll be meeting people from all over the say different courses and from different backgrounds, and we allocate based on your preferences. So it's a great opportunity to meet people. As I mentioned previously, we've got loads of great social facilities on site that you can make use of, loads of great study spaces as well. So again, if you're studying with other people, then you can do that. So there's lots to make use of there. Our outdoor areas, we've got barbecues in certain areas as well. So again, when the weather's nicer in the spring and summer, it's great to make use of those facilities as well. There's lots of events throughout the year, both from societies, Student Life, who I mentioned previously, they run events. We do some events ourselves in halls. So again, there's things that you can get involved with there. So there's lots going on. And I say it's that whole point of community. And the reason that we put so much effort into making life as convenient as possible for you while you're in halls, so that you don't have to, as I say, worry about bills and things like that. And you can just focus on the things that matter to you, your studies and your social life, and really making the most of your time at university. So that's a general overview of our halls of residence. As I say, we try and do everything possible to make life as easy as possible, right through from applying right to when you join us. And I hope that's given you a good overview of what you need to know about our halls. There's more details on our website, and I'll be in the Q&A later to answer your questions along with some of my colleagues. so please feel free to ask those once that opens. Yeah, I hope that gives a good overview of what you need to know, and really look forward to hopefully welcoming some of you in the coming years to our halls of residence. And I've just put our contact details on screen, so if you do want to get hold of us after today, then please feel free to, and you'll be able to, and we can answer any questions you may have after the event as well. And I'll hand you back to James now.
Thanks, Carl. I hope that gives everyone a really good idea of what it's like to live in university accommodation and what we have on offer here. The next person I'm going to be handing over to is called Tia. She's going to tell you more about herself, but she's one of our students, and she's going to tell you about what it's like to live in halls. Over to you, Tia.
Hi everyone, my name's Tia and I'm a third year child nursing student. I'm from Wolverhampton in the West Midlands and I moved to Southampton for uni. I'd never really been there before, only looked around maybe once or twice for the accommodation beforehand, so it was really exciting, a completely different place for me. I moved into Glen Eyre. I moved in specifically the Chamberlain part, which is the newer bit. I lived in one of the enhanced Glen Eyre rooms with an ensuite with 10 other people. I lived with 5 boys and 4 girls. There was 10 of us all together. We're all from different parts of the country, so a few people were from London, I was from Birmingham, and everyone studied completely different courses. So some people did engineering, others did medicine, so it was really good to meet loads of different people that I probably wouldn't have met if we all studied the same course. Personally, I absolutely loved halls. I think meeting people and being able to put yourself out there and do things that you never would have done is just a completely different experience, something you probably wouldn't experience any other time in your life. So this is a really good thing to put yourself through. By living with loads of different people who do different courses, you meet such a variety of people. So you start by just making your own friends in your halls, and then you meet your course mates, and then you meet their course mates, and so on and so on, and then you get a massive social friendship group, so that's great. Personally within halls, one of my favourite events was the Christmas ball. So it's like a massive ball that goes on, everyone dresses up really smart, tuxes and dresses, something completely different to like the average club night at uni. I also loved a quiz evening on a Thursday in the common rooms. It was just on like the bottom floor of Chamberlain. It's run by the Quiz Society, and everyone went down and we were all part of a team. One prize is like drinks vouchers for the Susu, or just like money vouchers, things like that. I also loved throughout the summer that the student union ran barbecues all across the halls. So they gave out free hot dogs and free burgers on all the sunny days. So that was something to look forward to. For me personally, I don't play any instruments. I don't do any sports. I'm boring like that. So I joined the Cocktail Society and the Nursing Society in my first year, and that helped me to meet new people as well. And then when we went to do different socials and things like that, I saw all the different halls and everywhere to go kind of in and around Southampton. I loved the Chamberlain common rooms within the accommodation. Even if you just wanted to get out of your flat for 10 minutes, it was just somewhere a bit different that you could go and sit and meet people. If you wanted to just go and have a drink, or you just wanted to chill and work in there, then it was just an extra space. Recently at Southampton, they've introduced Roy electric scooters, and they're kind of based all around the accommodations, and there's some at the university campus and near the city centre. So it makes things a lot more accessible. And like previously mentioned, if you go into halls and you get a free bus pass, so it's really, really easy for things to get around Southampton. I loved the accommodation that we had a weekly cleaner. That really, really helped with the fact that obviously some people like things a certain way and others just don't really care, so it helps to keep kind of things in order. It took a bit of the stress off of us that if we needed to do kind of uni work and things like that, then we didn't have to worry about cleaning and stuff when we got home. It just helped with a lot of like the communal areas, like the corridors and the kitchens, things like that. And as well, it saved us time and it saved us quite a lot of money as well, so it was such a positive. Student Life has been briefly spoken about before, but they're such an amazing group of people. They support students all around the university, and you see them quite a lot walking around the accommodation to check on people. Even if you just had maybe, I don't know, a bit too much to drink and you're walking home, they're the type of people, they just want to make sure you get in safe. They walk you up to your flat to make sure you get back. They're just that extra support, makes you feel a bit more at ease. They also helped one of my closest friends from halls with her mental health, and they helped us as well to support her, so that helped a lot. Personally, I just loved everything about halls. There wasn't one thing really I would change. I loved the atmosphere. I loved meeting new people. I loved the experience. I just loved that it was something that you would never otherwise do, and you meet people that you probably never would have come across again. So it's something completely different and something that I do think everyone should have to experience. I think my first year in halls really set me up for university, and it's been my favourite part of university so far. If anyone has any particular questions about the nursing course or just wants to ask me anything, you feel free to put a message in the chat, or you can message me on the university's UniBuddy online chat system. Yeah, that's me.
Thanks, Tia. We're glad you had such a great time in halls. Student experience really is at the heart of everything we do. Our next piece of content is 3 short videos from other students explaining what they loved about various halls. Just a note to say that these were recorded a few weeks ago at another event where our focus was on choosing a hall to stay at. But there are some great points that explain what makes staying in halls so special, so it should be really helpful for anyone considering halls accommodation. Just as a reminder, the Q&A section should be opening shortly, so if you've got any questions about living in halls, just let us know in there. We've got a team of people available to answer your questions, and we'll be choosing some of them to answer on screen after the video content. So let me just get that video up for you.
Hi everyone, my name's Augustine. I'm a current medical student in year 4, and I stayed in Archers Road, Gately Halls in particular. So I really liked Archers Road. I liked it so much I actually stayed for 2 years, for my first 2 years of my degree. And it's something that I've always had good memories of, and I still remember to this day how like amazing it felt to be to first go into the halls and meet new people, but also when I was there, the halls is a smaller type of hall, so it's more of a close-knit community. I got to meet so many people that I'm still friends with to this day, and because it was a close-knit community, you actually got to make good, strong bonds with people, because you see those type of people almost day in, day out. And that's something that I was looking forward to when I was applying for halls, something for me to be able to come back to my halls and know people and be able to interact. And we had a common space whereby we actually revised together as a halls, which was quite unique because other halls don't really get to revise together. So different days, if you go down, you get to see different mix of people, you get to interact with them. And then even outside of halls, we're right next to the Southampton Common, which was great. We could go to walks there. We're only a 10-minute walk to the city centre, so it was great for me because I've always wanted to be near the city but not quite in the city, because I didn't want to be as too far from university. And Archers Road offered perfectly for that, because it's situated almost halfway between the main campus Highfield and the city centre, which meant that I could go into the city centre, but I wasn't that close to it that I was too far from the university either. But essentially I really liked Archers, and that's why I decided to stay in Archers Road for 2 years.
Hi guys, my name's Jess. I study fashion and textiles design. I'm in my 3rd year, and I lived in Erasmus for my 1st year. I really liked it there. It was really nice. They had a massive sense of community, and everyone had like something in common. Everyone had a creative background. There was people from my course in my flat, and also like mixed with other people from other courses. So it was nice to have like a little bit of variety. We socialised mainly with like other flats as well. Like there was sort of 2 or 3 flats that would end up going out all the time, or like we had a few movie nights. We also like watched I'm a Celeb together. That was quite nice when that was on. But it was really nice that sort of everyone was kind of in the same boat. Like most first years when I was there were all in Erasmus, so everyone was kind of in the same place as well, which was nice. I also like that they had like en suites in the rooms, because it meant you have your like own space, especially like with first year. Like sometimes sharing a bathroom for first year is a bit much, so yeah, having like your own bathroom was really nice as well. Like being only sort of 20-minute walk from uni, it was so easy to like get to everywhere. There was a big Tesco's literally 2 minutes from the house that you could walk there, so it was such a good location too. But yeah, we had lots of fun, and yeah, that's why Erasmus was right for me.
Hello, my name is Sarah and I'm a third year mathematics and philosophy student. Throughout my degree, I have lived at Mayflower Halls. Mayflower Halls is situated in the heart of Southampton city centre, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to stay here, as a reminder of me of my hometown. Another great benefit of living at Mayflower Halls is the ease of use of buses. The U2 and U2B buses come frequently and stop directly outside the halls, and both take you to Avenue and Highfield campuses under 30 minutes. I love the commute because it drives past the Southampton Commons, and they are so beautiful, especially in the crisp of a winter morning. Mayflower Halls is made up of 3 buildings, Block A, Block B and Block C. I've lived at both Block A and Block B and had an equally great experience in both due to the close-knit community. In our flat, for example, every Friday was games night, sometimes in competition with other flats. We even held a student version of Come Dine With Me, where one of us would cook and host for the other flatmates. All these reasons and many more are why Mayflower Halls was the right halls for me.
So between hearing from Tia and those videos, we hope you've all got a good idea of what it's like to stay in university accommodation. We're now going to move on to some of your questions. I can see there's a lot that have come through already, so we're going to work hard to answer them for you. Just a note to say that if someone has posted a question that you'd also like to know the answer to, give it a like. We'll try to answer all the most liked questions, even if we've already answered them in the chat. I'm going to hand over to Carl now to take you through the Q&As. Sorry, I'm just going to take back over for a second. I think we had Carl on mute at that point, so I'm just going to get him to unmute himself and then we'll go straight back to him.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so I've got a question for you here, Tia. It says, when you're on placement, did you find it difficult sharing a flat with people on other courses? I thought perhaps nurses may be placed in flats together for this reason. Are you okay to answer that one, Tia?
Yeah, definitely. So it wasn't difficult in the fact that kind of the flat that I was with were really respectful of the fact that I was going to be working different shifts to them and things like that. Everyone kind of understood the requirements of each other's course. And in terms of like noise and things like that, there are different flats that you can request. So if you are really paranoid about specific things like that, then you can request like a quieter flat, which is usually full of people that maybe don't go out all the time and things like that. So that made it a little bit easier in that kind of respect. But yeah, I didn't struggle like that really, and I found that all of my placements have been really, really easy in the fact that they let you choose kind of what shifts you want to work. So if you know that you'll want to go out on one day, or all your friends are doing something at one particular time, then a lot of the placements are really, really good at helping you make sure that you're not missing out in that respect. So I haven't struggled like that. Cool, thank you for that, Tia. Got another question here, Marta. I'm going to put in your direction if that's okay. Someone has asked, what campus is marine biology on, and therefore what is the closest accommodation to that campus?
So most of the lectures for marine biology are in the Waterford campus, which is in Knox. The closest one in terms of accommodation from our halls is Mayflower. However, really don't worry about how close your accommodation is, because the Unilink buses will get you from your halls to where you have to study, wherever it is in the city, and you'll be there in just a matter of minutes. So really don't worry about location.
Thank you for that, Marta. Sorry, what other questions have we got? Here's one for Charlie. I hope you're okay to answer this. How many parking spaces are there for people in halls? I think I'd just extend that to say, Charlie, just to give a general overview of parking at University of Hull sites, if that's okay.
Yes, sure, will do. Thank you, Carl. We do have a limited number of car parking spaces at some of our sites. However, we strongly recommend that people don't bring their cars because we have the Unilink bus service, which offers unlimited travel between our hall sites, our studying areas, our campuses, and the shops and city centre. And the bus routes themselves do also go to the train station and the airport. So they really connect you to all the essential areas of the city.
Thank you for that, Charlie. Yeah, what I would say is in order to park on site, you do need a permit, but they're not just given out, and you need to justify a reason for having a permit. So worth keeping in mind. But as Charlie mentioned, the Unilink bus service means it really negates the need to have a car in Southampton. Someone's asked a question here, which I'm just going to pick up on regarding. So I've just lost it now. Someone's asked what happens if you miss a payment. So when you come to halls, we set your instalments out. So for most of you, you'll be looking for a 38 or 40-week contract, will run from September through to June or July. In that, your accommodation fees are broken down into 3 instalments, and so they're set out at the beginning of the year. First one comes out in October, second one in January, and then the third one changes slightly depending on when Easter falls, but it's all outlined before you come. If you do miss a payment, then there is a kind of a follow-up process, but don't worry, you won't get chucked out straight away, or we won't be banging down your door or anything like that. We understand sometimes there's reasons why people aren't able to make payments, but you can always speak to our student support hub, and if you've got any financial concerns or anything along those lines, make sure you speak to ourselves or student support hub, and we'll be able to best advise. And all I'd say is, for most of you, it should, in most cases, it's not an issue. People have got plan ahead and they've got everything, and when the payments are coming out. But if you are in that situation, just make sure you talk to us. And as I say, we don't just kind of bang on your door saying the second that rent's not paid or chuck you out or anything like that. We're there to support you, and we understand sometimes there are extenuating circumstances that maybe make things difficult in that regard. If I could hand this one over to you, Marta, if that's okay. Someone's asked a question about belongings during holiday periods, in terms of is there a deposit they could put stuff in. If I can hand it over to you and just explain in terms of how kind of Christmas and Easter works with our contracts, Marta, is that okay?
Yes, of course. So if you have a contract that covers you from the beginning of the academic year in September until June or July, you can keep your belongings in your room during that entire period, even if you are not in halls all the time. However, if you are in one of the, if you have a contract that doesn't cover the Easter holidays, you will have to move out during those weeks. Unfortunately, we're not available to offer storage facilities, but the main thing to have in mind is that as long as you know which contract you're in, you'll be able to prepare to move out and then move back in during that on those dates. So just bear in mind that you need to be quite careful when you make your application and accept your contract, but everything is written in there, and if you have any questions at all, you can always contact us and we'll be able to answer any questions that you have.
Cool, thank you, Marta. I've got another one for you here, Tia. I believe you lived in a self-catered flat, and someone's asked how does self-catered cooking work? Do we cook for ourselves or do we cook as a group? Could you just answer in terms of your experience in terms of how self-catered works?
Yeah, so it really just depends on you. It depends on your flat. People obviously eat different things and like different things, so you can obviously go out to the shops and buy whatever you want. You may decide with your flat that you want to cook together in the evening and make like a big meal. So in my flat in first year, we mainly cooked on our own, but that person was because I'm quite picky with food, so I didn't really want to eat what other people ate. But when it came to like Christmas or things like that, we had a big Christmas meal where we all cooked together. So it's completely up to you as an individual and up to who you share with.
Cool, thank you very much for that, Tia. Right, let's see if I just pick up another one. someone has mentioned, says, before someone mentioned that if I put this towards you, if that's okay, Marta. So before someone mentioned that there were weekly cleaners, do all halls have cleaners, and do they do all areas, as in shared bathrooms? So I'm going to hand over to Marta on this, but what I would say is that obviously during the pandemic our offer has changed slightly in regard to kind of cater for that as well. But Marta, if you could give a bit more detail on that, please.
Yes, sure. Under normal circumstances, so when in a world without COVID, there are cleaners that provide this service all of our halls. During the pandemic, like Carl said, we had to change our offer, and in the past year, what we gave the students were cleaning packs so that they could do the cleaning of the communal areas on their own. However, hopefully, when we go back to normal circumstances, we'll be able to offer the weekly cleaning with our staff.
Cheers. Thank you very much for that, Marta. So got another question here, and actually if I could again go to you, Tia, on this one. Someone has asked, what and where are the laundry facilities on site?
So it's different in each of the halls, but within Glen Eyre there was a designated room on the bottom floor. It was just full of like washing machines and tumble dryers, so you just have to buy your own kind of cleaning products and things like that to use. It's all done online through an app, so you take your washing down, you pick the washing machine, pick the tumble dryer, and then you pay for it and you load your credit onto the app. And then what I liked about that was you could then check like 40 minutes later if it was finished, and it was really easy to keep track of when you needed to go down instead of having to go down and check in and then going back up. It was a really easy thing to do.
Fantastic, thank you, Tia. Charlie, I've got one for you here. Someone's asked, are you allowed guests? And again, this is something that's been slightly different for this year in the pandemic, but we can, Charlie, if you could just cover both the kind of this year and just generally what we would do in more kind of normal circumstances as well.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Carl. At the moment, we're not currently allowing guests, I believe, but in the normal year, that would of course be fine. We do ask if someone is staying, I think it's for over 3 days, that they just notify us so that we're aware. But otherwise, typically that's fine. And just to follow on from that slightly, if they were travelling down, you do have the option to buy a temporary car parking permit, and those come in packs of 3s and can be purchased in the reception areas.
Excellent, thank you for that, Charlie. Yeah, given the just to kind of touch a bit more in terms of our response to the pandemic, in regard to this year, we see flats as households, and then within those households obviously need to follow government guidelines, so therefore we haven't been allowing guests. With the slight restrictions being reduced by this Monday, I think it's the 17th, then we will be able to have guests, or our current residents will be able to have guests again during this time. So yeah, as I'm sure with everyone, the pandemic has affected a lot of things, so we've obviously adjusted our practices accordingly. Couple of questions I just cover here quickly. Someone has asked, is TV license included in the bills? We don't include a TV license in the bills, so if you did want to watch television, or if you wanted to watch things like online content like iPlayer and things like that, then you would need to get your own TV license. There's also been a few questions I've seen on whether you can stay in your accommodation after the first year. So I'll just pick up on that. So obviously we've gone over our first year undergraduate guarantee as long as you get your application in, but you might be thinking what's on offer for me second or third year. So you do have the option to come back into halls. It's not guaranteed as it is for first years. However, we do get a good chunk of people coming for second and third year as well into halls. That application process opens at around January, February time each year, and people can apply. We then let you know in March time whether you've got a place or not. As I say, for the past few years, we've had I think as many as 1,000 people come back into hall. So that is an option available to you. And for second and third year, you can apply as a group. So if there's a group of friends that want to stay together, then you can apply to do so. In regard to other accommodation options, you're very fortunate in terms of if you come to the University of Southampton, there's lots of accommodation available within the city, both in the private sector in terms of private housing. Also, there's a number of private halls as well. So there's lots of options available to you there. And in regard to private housing, we have a accredited landlord scheme called SASH, run between ourselves and also Solent University, which is a tool that students can use to find properties that meet certain criteria in terms of, making sure they have correct contracts, that you're not dealing with any dodgy characters in regard to terms in their contracts and things like that, and also that they meet certain terms in regard to safety certificates and things like that. So there's additional help and support, and also our student union is really good in terms of those looking in the private sector as well. So there's lots of support available and there's lots of options. So you're in a really good position as a student in Southampton. If I just hand this one over to you, Marta, a few people question asking whether the bus, whether those in Winchester get a bus pass.
No, students in Winchester don't get a bus pass. However, our halls in Winchester, which are called Erasmus Park, are so close to both the city centre and the Winchester School of Art campus that really you can do everything you need on foot.
Excellent, thank you. Question for Charlie here. Someone has asked, what does park catered consist of? Could you just give a review of kind of what's included in a park catered contract?
Yeah, sure. I believe the part catered offer is a lunch or a dinner from Monday to Friday. And then I think on the weekends you have the option of one meal, which can be taken either at our hall site in the dining room, or you have a card which you can use on campus in a number of the different outlets they have there for providing food.
Yeah, thank you for that, Charlie. Yes, so that's correct. Yeah, so breakfast and either your choice of lunch or dinner each day during the week, and then you get brunch on a Saturday and lunch on a Sunday. And so that means that you've got that catering as well. But what I also say as well are catered halls, which are, and just to answer another question, people are saying, is park catered available at all our sites? Park catered accommodation is available at our Highfield site, which currently is closed due to the pandemic. We're unable to create households due to the layout of Highfield, but we would hope that would be open by 2022-23. But it's also available at our Wessex Lane Hall site, both as part of an ensuite contract and and shared wash facility contracts as well. So there's a few options in terms of it for those looking for catered accommodation. All our other sites are solely self-catered. There was a question I saw here regarding, I think it's something I said in regard to about how we allocate based on preferences. So actually, if I just go a bit more into the whole kind of application and allocation process. When you apply for halls, you get to put a maximum of 5 choices and a minimum of 3 choices. So when you choose, you get to choose the room type, the site that you're looking at, whether you want self-catered or park-catered. Obviously, you can only select park-catered for the sites that offer that service. And also you get to put in your preference of contract type. So for majority of undergraduate students, you'll be looking at 38, 40-week contracts, September to kind of June, July. But some courses, more so postgraduate courses, 51 week, and there's also that option for you as well. So when you apply, you put those preferences in, as I say, maximum of 5, minimum of 3, then we allocate based on those preferences. So we obviously try and give you your first choice preference where possible. If that's not possible, you then look at second and third preferences. And we put a lot of effort in there to make sure that you get kind of the accommodation that you've shown a preference for. What I would say, something to highlight, is we don't allocate first come first served. So our application process normally opens in January, kind of February time each year. And as I say, the deadline to get your application is the 1st of August. It doesn't matter if you apply as soon as it opens or 10 minutes before the deadline. We go on your preferences and we don't even look at when you've applied. We then allocate to the rooms based on your preferences. And we put a lot of work into that, and for the last few years it's been in the high kind of 90% of people who've got one of their first 3 preferences. So we put a lot of effort into that, and I say we do put a lot of effort into looking what you've applied for. One thing I didn't mention earlier is in terms of what you can apply for as well is you can ask for to be in single gender accommodation. You can have a preference to be in a quiet flat, and although it's not guaranteed, you can also apply to be in an alcohol-free flat. And so people with those preferences we would put together in flats. So if you ask for single gender, that is something that we do guarantee. So if you apply for single gender accommodation, then we will make sure that you get that. So there's all those things are taken into account when we come to allocate you for your room. Right, back to other questions we've got here. One for you, Charlie, if that's okay. It says, are there limits for uses of things like water, electricity or Wi-Fi?
It's a great question. Thank you, Carl. There is no limit on these things, so you can use them as much as you wish.
Yeah, as I say, we try and make it as convenient as possible for you, so that's all included in your horse fees, so there's no limits on those. So again, one less thing to worry about. You can use those as much as you need to. Someone has asked here, I guess there's a lot of questions along this kind of line as well. Which uni hall is best recommended to someone? Sorry, I'll hand this to you, Marta, if that's okay. Well, actually, if I go to Marta, but also to Tia, if, based on your experience as well. So if I come to you first, Tia, it says, which uni hall is best recommended to someone who enjoys sports and the gym, but is looking at a business management course? I know you said you didn't like sports, but in terms of maybe just an overview of kind of, are there better halls for certain sites or things like that?
Yeah, so I replied to that question. All I said was that there aren't specific halls that I think are better for different courses. It just depends on your individual requirements and what you're kind of looking for and what you want to get out of halls. I know that Mayflower Halls has a gym that's downstairs that you've got to buy like the gym membership for, but there's also a gym and leisure centre on Highfield campus. So, and that's like a 5-minute walk from Glen Eyre. So I think if you're looking for somewhere that's nearby to a gym and looking for different things like that, then maybe looking to Mayflower and Glen Eyre in particular.
Cool, thank you, Tia. And then from kind of Marta, if you could just kind of elaborate a few points in terms of just, I guess, getting around and where things are in Southampton and just getting around to those facilities and people's different hobbies and whatnot.
Of course, so like it was said, some of our halls have gyms and other sports facilities, and in the in main campus there is also the Jubilee gym where students with a pass from the Sports and Wellbeing Department are able to go to. However, like we have said several times as well now, the Unilink bus pass allows you to go to all the different facilities that we offer, so you can access them all and reach them very easily.
Cool, thank you, Marta. Another question for you here, Tia. Someone's asked, could you go over how bathrooms work again? So if you could just give an overview in terms of how shared bathroom facilities work in halls.
Yes, it just depends if you get either a shared bathroom or if you have a private bathroom. So I personally had an ensuite. So within our kind of flat, we all had our own ensuite. So that just means that you get to use it on your own, that you don't share it with other people. However, it depends on kind of the hall. I know that some have more shared to specific bathrooms than others. Cleaners do come around and they clean all the shared facilities, such as the bathrooms and the toilets and things like that. So that does help in the respect that if you do have people within your flat that are a bit messier than you are, then you don't have to worry about looking after everyone else. You can kind of just take care of yourself.
Cheers, thank you, Tia. Someone, one I'll pick up here. Someone's asked, what happens if you miss the deadline for halls of residence? So as I say, you're covered by the guarantee if you apply by the 1st of August. If you apply after that, you won't be guaranteed, but obviously where possible we will try and allocate you into our halls. And I say very much depends on what numbers are in terms of the cohort each year and how many people have applied. But if we've got space, then of course we will offer it out. I mean, just to give you that peace of mind, just make sure you get that application in. As I say, even if Southampton's your insurance choice, get that application in, because it gives you the peace of mind that you know you've got the accommodation if you need it. But if you don't need it, you can just reject it or let it expire, and you haven't, no cost to you. There's nothing to lose from applying. It just gives you peace of mind that you've got the accommodation there if you need it. What I'd also say is, depending on our numbers each year in terms of how many people we're expecting to come, sometimes we are able to offer accommodation to clearing students as well, but that's not guaranteed, and that again, that is depends each year depending on the numbers, and we look at that, but sometimes we are able to offer a kind of a good chunk of clearing students accommodation as well. But as I say, the one message I'll hammer home, if you have any plans on coming to Southampton, just make sure you get that application before the 1st of August. It doesn't take long to do. It's 10-15 minutes on our online portal, so it doesn't take too long at all. I guess this is following on from the TV license question. If I could give this one to you, Charlie. Someone has said, would that also mean you have to buy your own TV?
I would say we have a number of common areas that have TVs in them, such as the cinema room at Glen Eyre or the Chamberlain study room. So as we refurbish our common rooms, we're adding screens because we know people love the shared experience of watching films or gaming together. You're more than welcome to buy your own TV for your room. There's no restrictions on that. So if that's something you're thinking of, I would suggest do it.
Yeah, as I say, we don't provide TVs as a standard, I think, so there won't be a television in your room on arrival. So if you want to bring one, or I know many people use their laptops to watch things like Netflix or iPlayer or whatever it is, then again, it's not a problem. So let's just pick up some more contracts. Another one for you, Tia, and this is regarding nursing courses in particular. Do the contracts allow for the length of the nursing courses?
So yeah, so all the accommodations have different kind of lengths. I found that halls are really accommodating in the fact that if you did study something like nursing and you needed that bit of extra time at the end, then you can just apply and they can see what they can sort out for you. I do think it's important to remember that in the 2nd and 3rd year, quite a lot of people move out of halls and they might choose who they want to live with in different areas. And most of these tenancies begin when the halls contracts end, so you'll find that you'll move straight out of one into another, and there's not really a space where there isn't really a length of time where you don't have anywhere to stay, if that makes sense. That there's always a time when you'll have somewhere to be within halls or within a private rented space.
Cheers, thank you for that, Tia. What I would say is also in addition to that is if you're on a nursing course, and Tia, you might be able to correct me if I'm wrong in this, but sometimes you know you're going to be on a placement, but you don't know where it will be. Sometimes it will be in Southampton, sometimes it might be somewhere else, Basingstoke, for example. If that is the case, what I would say is apply for a 38 or 40-week contract, and then when we get to March each year, we open for what we call summer extensions. So anyone who wishes to have accommodation through into kind of July, August time, if you once you know that, you can apply for an extension. And obviously for those on medical courses, where we understand many people are in that position, so we do offer those extensions for students so they can stay into the summer. Where possible, we try and keep you in the same room. Occasionally you do need to move room, but so well, that's what we'd recommend. So therefore, you know, once you know when your placement is.
Could I quickly just add on to
yes.
that? I do think it's important as well that as nursing students, obviously our placements can be all across Hampshire, so you can be anywhere from Southampton General to Basingstoke to even the Isle of Wight as an example. And I found that in halls, although you can't bring your car down all the time, if you are placed somewhere you feel like you need a car, that halls you can just buy a permit for that period of time. So say you're on placement for 6 or 8 weeks, then you can just buy the permit, and then what you can claim that money back through the university and through the NHS, so it doesn't actually cost you anything, it doesn't come out of your pocket, so that's really important.
Cool, thank you for that, Tia. Just to highlight, we've got about 5 minutes left of the session now. We'll try and get through as many of your questions as possible. Just to highlight, we've only got 5 minutes left. Right, someone, Charlie, if I could put this one towards you. It says, if you lose your key or PIN, or I presume it might mean fob, PIN for a door code or something, do you have to pay for another one? So if you could just give an overview in terms of if someone does lock themselves out or loses their key, what they need to do.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Carl. So if you do happen to lose your key, we have spares in our receptions areas. Unfortunately, there would be a cost, which at the moment is £10. But if you do happen to lose one, don't worry, you will always be able to access your room because we have the 24/7 security and they can let you back in. We do also provide you with a number of days before that payment is required, just in case you've lost it in your room somewhere. So you've got the option to try and find it before you have to pay anything. We've got two types of keys. We've got the physical keys, and we also have the fobs. These are electric keys which let you into some areas. And I'd suggest on arrival, just take your key and put it on your bunch of keys so it's connected and it's with a bigger bunch, and that will hopefully reduce the chance of it going missing.
Cool, fantastic. Thank you, Charlie. Someone's asked a question, is there a time you're required to be back in your hall? No, there's no curfew on our hall, so again, you can come and go as you please, so there's nothing in that regard. Someone's asked, can you change rooms if you don't get along with flatmates? I'll pick that one up. So in regard to, you know, if you move in and then all of a sudden you either, for whatever reason, don't feel it's the right room for you or your flatmate, there is possible to move rooms, but again, it's not guaranteed, and where possible, obviously we try and, if there's an issue with your flatmates, we try and resolve it there. But again, if there's a need to, then we do what we call a supported room move. So if you weren't getting along with your flatmates, you can talk to Student Life, who we've mentioned a few times, and they can assist you with that. Sometimes they will assist you in terms of, you know, if there's a falling out within a flat, which doesn't happen that often, so that's, you know, so don't worry about it. But you know, we do get occasions when, you know, we're a kind of community of thousands of students. You are going to get people occasionally who fall out, but speak to Student Life. They might be able to hold a meeting in terms of the help, in terms of mediation, come to a resolution without needing to move. But if, you know, you just get to the point where it's felt that a move is best solution, or for example, sometimes we have people on the top floor and then, you know, they might get a sports injury or something, injured an ankle or something, and it may not be suitable for them to be on the top floor, then we, you know, we can, if there's a reason for it, we can do what we call a supported room move and find you suitable accommodation. So it's not a kind of a general, yes, we can just move people around. It depends on availability and things like that. But, you know, if there's circumstances that require it, then we can move people, yes. Right. Someone's asked, Marta, if I could give this one to you. Someone asked, what is the move-in process like? So when people first arrive into halls.
So this year, the move-in is going to happen over the weekend, the 25th and 26th of September, and most of our students always arrive on the Saturday or the Sunday. And what happens is we have a very big team during that weekend supporting everyone moving in. It's quite a busy weekend because we have thousands of students moving in, and we try to make it as easy as possible for everyone. We provide as much facilities as we can, such as trolleys to take everything from your cars to your rooms, and we also have a lot of student helpers that can answer any questions that you have because they have been in the same position as you will be. Apart from that, we also have our own staff on site, obviously, who is able to take care of any maintenance issues you might find in your room or any concerns you might have. And it's generally a very fun weekend because everyone has the spirits up and is just looking forward to going to university and starting a new chapter in their lives.
Cool, thank you for that, Marta. Yeah, arrival slots are booked through the same process that you would apply for your accommodation, accept your accommodation through, and so you just book one of those before you arrive. Tia, would you be able to give an overview in terms of your experience of arriving in halls, and I guess also then just kind of your first kind of interactions with your flatmates and meeting people for the first time?
Yeah, so when I moved into halls, half the people moved in on the one day and then the other half moved in on the second day. And when I originally moved in, I went into the wrong flat and moved all of my stuff into the wrong room. So I met all these flatmates and they were like, oh, you're in this room, and it was not my room. So I was very embarrassed and then had to move all of my stuff into a completely different building and a completely different block. And it was to complete fault of my own, but it was very embarrassing. But funnily enough, I'm actually friends with these people now, so we do laugh about this. When I kind of first met my flatmates, it was a really weird experience because these are people that you know that you're going to be friends with for the next like few years or potentially forever. and yet you know absolutely nothing about them. So we all kind of just sat in the kitchen, all said our goodbyes to our parents, and then just sat there kind of general conversation, getting to know each other. And then we planned out our freshers week and what we were going to be getting up to and where we were going to be going and who with and on what day. So it was really exciting.
Awesome, sounds good. I guess if nothing else, going to the wrong room, at least it's a memorable experience if nothing else, and again, as you said, meet a few more people. Cool, thank you for everyone's questions. I'm going to hand back to James now as we're coming to the end of the session.
Thank you very much all for those fantastic questions. That's all we've got time today. So thank you very much for coming along and for all of the questions that you've been posting in chat. We'll be sending you an email after the event with lots of links to online content. Be sure to keep an eye out for it if you've not made up your minds whether halls are right for you. It'll go into even more depth than what we've been able to cover in today's session. If you'd like to get in touch, we're posting all of our contact information and our web links and everything in the chat, so you can just find us there or on social media. Just search University of Southampton Residences. We're more than happy to answer your questions. Thank you very much for attending. We hope to welcome you to halls in the next few years.